So I have a bunch of these photo prints that I need to finish packaging, and I also have a bunch of stories, so I figured, why not multitask? So story time it is. So back in 2019, I'm not sure everyone knows this, but Thelma and I actually did 900 miles of the Continental Divide Trail together. And one of the most memorable parts of that trail, I mean, the physical country and geography was stunning, but the people and the random acts of kindness that I experienced was like far and away the most memorable point of that trip. So one of the first ones, I just wanted to tell you about it because I think we need more positivity on our feeds recently, but one of the first ones was literally only 2 days into our trip. So I had just met Thelma and Tigger, who was my other horse for the first 300 miles, and I met them at the start of April. I started the trail kind of like halfway through May, so there was still a lot of snow around. It was 2019, so a record snow year, and so I was starting in Wyoming. But just as a little extra safety precaution, for the first section of the trip, I actually had a friend come with me. And we started out and we went for the day. It was a pretty long day. It was kind of rough. Started off getting rained on, then sleeted on, then snowed on, so all of my clothes got super wet and like it just, everything froze to me. It was a great introduction, but we kind of got to the end of that first day and realized that Thelma had developed a cinch sore. And so of course I was like, well, I can't continue, I need to come off trail, and then made plans, had a look at the maps and was like, where's the best place to come off trail? And it was this little town called Jeffrey City. And I was in Wyoming at the time because it was the lowest elevation, and so it was supposed to have the least amount of snow, which it did for the most part. And it was also really flat because I'd spent the last 6 weeks kind of getting my horses in shape and ready and whatnot, but I also wanted to start like really flat just to keep increasing their fitness while we started the miles. And so what we'd done is we had his truck at the start of the section that I'd been planning to do, and then we'd put my truck and trailer up at the end. And so we were coming out like right in the middle of those two. So we made a beeline, and because Thelma had that cinch sore, I was like, well, I'm going to pretty much ride her with a cinch not touching her today. This is going to be like kind of a balance exercise. And so I used a water trough that we found out there to get on her. And then because the saddle was just like a little bit off, I put my foot in my offside stirrup, and then you know how you kind of like push down to kind of get your saddle straight again? Yeah, I did that, except at some point I had lost the nut on the side of the stirrup. And so the whole thing just like opened up. I completely busted my stirrup, like it was done for. No idea where that nut is, it's still out there somewhere. So I actually rode that entire day without a stirrup as well. And I did initially want to walk that, but 25 miles walking in Carhartt overalls is just like not ideal. So we made our way out. And so we got into this tiny little town, and it was about 4 p.m. I hadn't eaten yet that day, and I remember like all I wanted was just a bacon cheeseburger. And this is a teeny tiny town, like Jeff City is itty bitty. I think there's like a bar, a post office, a pottery shop, and just like a couple of people there. So luckily I actually had friends in Lander, and they happened to know the guy that owned the pottery shop. And so we went in and asked, and was just like, hey, do you happen to know of anyone going to Rollins at all? Like, we just need to go back, pick up the truck that was at the start of our section so that we could then go and pick up my truck and trailer at the end of the section we'd planned, so that, you know, we could then move the horses. And so he's just a phenomenal human being. He didn't even be like, oh, let me see if anyone's going to roll, and just straight away like shut the shop down, took my friend out to go pick up his truck, and then I was left with the horses. And so I kind of was sitting there with 2 horses in a town that I knew nothing about, and there were a couple of dogs barking. I just knew that everywhere was private property, and I was trying to figure out what to do to get settled. And so I decided, well, you know what, I'm gonna go to the bar, which I did. And so I made my way over to the bar, and I was looking around for somewhere to tie the horses because, you know, generally there's not just a plethora of hitching rails at bars nowadays. And so I think I was just kind of like standing there looking around and looking like a little bit lost, and this guy came out of the bar, and I saw, because there wasn't a ton of people in the parking lot, I saw that his truck had a stock trailer attached to it, and he kind of took one look at me, and I think he saw that I was just in a state of what do I do next. And he's like, pretty much, hey, can I help you? And I was like, oh, hey, how you going? Yeah. And he's like, Australia, because my accent was a lot stronger back then than it is now. It's softened a little over the years. And I was like, yeah, that's right. And he's like, what are you doing? Pretty much. And I said, oh, I'm doing the Continental Divide Trail, but I had to come off early. I've landed here. Like, would you be able to hold my horses while I go inside and have a chat? And he's like, yeah, of course. And so I went in, and when I'd been walking around, I saw that there was like a little bit of pasture out the back of the bar. And so I spoke to Isabel, who is the owner and an absolute angel on this earth. And she was like, of course, you can put your horses back there, like go get them untacked, like they can graze out there for the night while you figure your stuff out. And I was super, super thankful. And so I went outside, and Dusty was there holding my horses, and he was lovely and kind of came around the back with me and kept holding them while I set up electric fence for the night. And so I was kind of chatting as I was going and filling him in on what I was doing, and that, you know, I hadn't really had anything to eat yet that day, but I was just eyeing off the bacon cheeseburger that I knew was on the bar menu. And so he waited until I got my fence set up, and then he had to go back to kind of get dinner sorted for his family. And I untacked the horses, put them inside, and then like went inside, ordered my bacon cheeseburger, was so happy. And so a little while later, I'd kind of been sitting there and chatting to Isabel, and I was like, oh, I left my phone outside. I should probably go and get that, turn it on and connect to the Wi-Fi so that if my friend tries to call me, then I'm gonna know like what's happening and like what his ETA is. And so I went to go outside, and as I went out, I pretty much ran into Dusty again. And what had happened was he had gone back to dinner with his family, told the family what was going on with me, how he'd run into like, you know, a random Australian in this tiny little town in Wyoming. And his kids had wanted to come back and say hi. So what they'd done was he remembered that I was like, you know what, I haven't eaten yet today, and they had brought back this huge serving of chicken fried rice, and they're like, look, I know that you said that you were going to get something to eat, but we just didn't want you to be hungry, and so we just wanted to bring this. And not only had they brought me like this huge serving of chicken fried rice from their kitchen, but they brought me Tupperware as well, so that if I wasn't going to eat it, then I could put it in Tupperware and take it with me the next day. And I just think that is one of the most thoughtful and kind things that anyone could have done for me in that moment. And so they stayed a little bit and chatted, and one of his sons had the exact same hat as what I wear, and so that was also like a little bonding moment. But we hung out for a little bit and had a chat, and then they left. And in that time, I'd been able to get something to eat, and my friend had come back from getting his truck. He went and got something to eat as well. And then we decided to go and pick up my truck and trailer. And so we were able to go out and do that. And in the time, because it had snowed on us so hard, while we were out on those like 2 days of trail. Oh my gosh, the roads were so slick. Like we were just sliding sideways the entire time. It was, you know, fun times. But we went and got my truck and trailer and went back to the bar, and Isabel pretty much took one look at us, was like, I've watered the horses, I fed them, get out of here. There's a church nearby where you can sleep for the night. Like they've got beds and everything, they're set up for it. Go have a shower, because I obviously looked amazing. I probably smelled amazing as well. But she's like, go have a shower. Your horses are completely taken care of tonight. I do not want to see you again until tomorrow. And so she, in the nicest way that is physically possible, kind of like kicked us out, was like, don't worry about anything, go look after yourselves, have a shower, and then come back tomorrow for breakfast. And so I did, and oh my goodness, that shower was amazing. But I think that it was just the fact that I turned up on their doorstep in the middle of nowhere, and it's like everyone just went out of their way to help me and make sure that I was okay. And I still think about that day a lot. I actually wrote and sent postcards while I was on the CDT as well to Dusty and Isabel, and I've called since then as well to check in. And yeah, I just thought I really wanted to share one of those stories. So the next day I did get the horses loaded, and I went up into Lando and stayed with friends for a couple of days before I went, and just gave the horses a little bit of a break for a while Thelma got over her cinch sore. So it was a very quick start to the trail, just 2 days before we had to kind of come off it. But I don't think that I could have gotten luckier with the people that I ran into there. So I guess what I'm trying to say here is that a lot of stuff that we've been seeing on social media and TV, I know it gets really heavy, but I genuinely believe that the fastest way to lose faith in humanity is to watch the evening news, and the fastest way to gain faith in humanity is to go on a cross-country trip, because that is only one of so many stories that I have of people just without question going out of their way to help me. And I'll probably end up doing a little bit of a series, but yeah, I hope that was good for number one. And yeah, if you like it, then I'll keep doing more, I guess. So